What's going on, guys? Ben here, and today we're taking a look at Raijintek's monstrosity of a case, the Paean Premium. The Paean Premium features an entire black coating both inside and out. As you would imagine, it can house a full-size ATX power supply. It's compatible with graphics cards up to 430mm in length and also supports CPUs up to 170mm in height for those of you that aren't doing water cooling, or if you're just waiting for your water cooling components to arrive. You can put your air cooler on, boom, job done. At least get your system up and running for the time being. It has two 4mm tempered glass panels, one on the side and one on the front. There's options to install a couple hard drives, a couple SSDs, and as you can see, there's more than enough room for all the fans you could ever want. Alongside all those fans, you will need plenty of ventilation for those fans to either suck air in or exhaust it out, and Raijintek have you covered. There's exhaust down on the bottom, the top, even the back side panel, as I call it, has a bit of an exhaust area so the air can get out of the case. So you should have no problem cooling your system inside the Paean Premium, no matter whether you're doing air cooling or water cooling, because you'll have plenty of circulation flowing through the case. Now, as you can see, I've gone for a full-on water-cooled build thanks to my friends at Raijintek. They've sent the Forcus RBW CPU block in, and they also sent us in the Atron 360 distro plate, which is absolutely amazing, and it just looks great in this case. And we've got the one that comes with the D5 pump already installed, so you literally just plug it in, screw it in, get all your hoses going, boom, it's got the pump and everything you need on it. It does feature RGB, but I've got it off at the moment. But if you haven't, you can check out the review for the Atron 360, link in the description below, and you can go ahead and look at that a bit closer. Now, as you've seen, like I said, full-on water-cooled build. We've got a water-cooled RX 6800 with the AlphaCool GPU block on it, and I even went ahead and got one of these silly little Pi screens. Now, this is a touchscreen one. It's only very little, and as you can see, a lot of people use them for diagnostics, showing CPU temps, GPU temps, and this and that via programs like Ada64 and the likes of that. Now, I haven't managed to get that set up yet, so what I've been doing, if you haven't seen, is I put either my website or Raijintek's website on there. So right now, it's just a little page of the Paean Premium's homepage on the Raijintek website. But like I said, the possibilities with that thing are endless, because as you can see, nothing else connected to the Paean Premium at the moment as far as a monitor goes. Plug that bad boy in, it comes right up straight out the gate. It looks decent. Like I said, it is touchscreen, so if you don't have a mouse and you boot up, you can just touch it. That's how I did Windows. I actually used the screen itself, no mouse required. And yeah, it's quite nice. It adds a little something to it. Obviously, you do have a couple cables that come through it, but I think it makes the build stand out. You can put your logo on there for modders and stuff, and like I said, little videos. Like I said, the possibilities are endless. But back to the case itself, and as you can see, this thing is absolutely massive. Down on the bottom here, we've got spot for 3 fans, but there's also another spot just like this on the other side for 3 more fans. And this will allow you to install some radiators down here, or depending on what you want. Like for now, I'll be 100% honest, I didn't have an extra 360mm rad to put here, so I've just got the fans there because they're just lighting it up. They're not doing a whole lot at the moment, but they help with the overall look of the build, and that was just down to my discretion because I've only had the one 360mm rad, and for the ease of sorting the loop out, I put it in the top there, as you can see. But these are quite easy. They come with thumb screws, which I've already taken off, but then you literally just slide it out, and then boom. This piece is held on by a couple of screws on each side. You can take that out, and that's the fan mount. And you can go ahead and mount your fans, your rads, whatever you need to it. Put it back in and put this on. As what we're seeing a lot more these days, this has got a removable magnetic dust filter as well, which is quite nice. You can even take that out if it gets too dusty, rinse it off under the sink, let it dry, and you're good to go. And again, like I said, same on the other side. So you could put 2 360mm rads, 6 fans down at the bottom, depending on what you're doing. Like I said, they come off quite easy. And then as you can see, boom, just slots back on. If I've got it back on the right way, which I don't. There we go. And it's the same with the side panel here. Couple of thumb screws, comes off nice and simple. As you can see, there's plenty of room inside the Paean Premium. We've got a couple screws here where you can take off this bottom plate to allow for better access to the underside where the fans are if you're going to run some water cooling tubes or what have you. There are a couple cutouts here for tubes to pass through, but if you want, you can take this off, at least when you're building, and then you can try to move your tubes back, get it back on, whatever you want to do. There is some room behind here to mount some fans as well on the bottom plate here. I've actually used the fan mounts to kind of hold my screen in, which I know is a bit cheeky and stuff, but it just kind of worked out well. And like I said, that water tool, it just holds it all nice and well. As you can see, 360 mount on the side of the motherboard tray. Again, you could put fans there, as we've seen in a lot of other cases, but thankfully Raijintek sent me the Atron 360 distro plate, so I've gone with that because I just think it just looks amazing to me. This is really my first proper water-cooled build that I've done from scratch to finish, and while I know it is only soft tubing, I'm quite happy with it. I like the way it looks. The tubes look quite nice. I kind of prefer the rounded loop. I know this one at the bottom, that long one, isn't the best, but like these shorter ones, I quite like the rounded look to them versus the hard angles, like 90-degree angles and extra fittings. I like how that looks. Again, Forcus RBW CPU block, Raijintek really trying to bring it all together and offer a complete solution for DIY water cooling, from the case, CPU block, distro. They do have fittings, and you can buy kits that they've got that will come with everything, most everything you need for a generic water cooling loop in there. Unfortunately, they didn't have a GPU block for my specific card, but they do have some available. So if you're interested in their gear, make sure you look for their GPU blocks as well. But yeah, I mean, plenty of room, as you can see. Like I said, I mean, you can put 3 fans here, 1 here, 3 on the other side, 3. I mean, the possibilities with fans are endless. Like, there's just so much room for fans and radiators. And as you can see as well, I've gone for just a standard thickness rad with normal fans here, but you could even go push-pull, and as you can see, there's plenty of room between the fan and the motherboard tray. So that's always an option as well if you want to get that extra couple degrees, get the best cooling performance you can possible. And Raijintek have done a very good job with this case. There are a couple of shortcomings, if you will, but that's going to be the same for just about any case. There's always going to be somebody that finds something that they didn't quite like. And in the case of the Raijintek one, I'm willing to overlook it because it was basically on the back side of the motherboard tray. There's no way to get to this bottom chamber. So if you wanted to, normally, if this was your build and you was going to put it all together and have it all singing and dancing, you would have to run any cables from the bottom up through here and then to the back side of the motherboard tray to connect your PSU. But I've spoken to Raijintek. They're going to address that in an updated model of this case, which is going to be brilliant. Not sure when that's coming out. I'm sure it'll probably be a while. But for me, that was the only real issue I had with it. And at the end of the day, it wasn't the end of the world, because where, I'll show you guys in a second, but on the back side of the motherboard, there is plenty of room for a cutout. So even if you weren't the best at modding or cutting cases or whatever, you could essentially find a way to cut a hole through it. I mean, even if you use like an ice pick or a chisel and a hammer and just bang the hole through it, where it is, I know it wouldn't be pretty, but once you've put the case together, you're not going to see it. And then it would allow you to go ahead and route the cables from the underside here up through the back side of the motherboard tray, so you don't see them. Now obviously if you're good with a Dremel or got the proper tools, then that's best. But yeah, I mean, for me, when I was building this, that was my only real that was the only real issue that I can remember that I had with this case. Other than that, like I said, there's plenty of room. I'll take this out for a second so you can see it here. Towards the bottom of the case, again, Raijintek have made sure, oh, I can't even get it. So we'll leave that there for a minute. Raijintek have made sure there's plenty of clearance from the bottom of the motherboard to the bottom of this here. to the bottom of the chassis itself, so that's great. You've got plenty of room to wire options, or again, like I said, if you wanted to put a couple fans, a hard drive, or something here, there is plenty of room. Again, most of the standard hard drives and SSD mounts are on the back side of the case, which is great. It's another thing, it's meant to be a pretty build. I know some people like showing off their SSDs, but if you've got mixed-mass SSDs and hard drives and that type of thing, you don't really want to show them off. So it's a great thing that Raijintek have included them on the back side there. It just makes life easy. They're out the way, you don't see them. And at the end of the day, you can have yourself quite a nice little build here, I believe. I mean, I'm quite happy with how mine's come out. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not. I'm sure there are going to be a few people in the comments that are like, oh man, video's crap, audio's crap, Angie went with soft tubing. But you know what? Like I said, this is my first full-on water-cooled loop. I've repaired them, upgraded them, filled them up with fluids, shipped them, received them, but I've never actually built one. So yeah, I took the easy way out and went with soft tubing. And personally, I'm very happy with the way it looks, like I've said. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's plenty of expansion slots on the back. Again, this fan here can be moved up or down. So in this build, I'm using it to bring airflow into the case because that's what I needed. Because I've got these blowing out. These are intaking air, even though it's only kind of just coming up here a bit and going straight back out the back. So this is the main area that's bringing in a bit of airflow. And it's not the most, but it's enough. If I take it off, the case will go up a few degrees in temperature, so it's doing its job, it's doing what it's supposed to. And again, at the end of the day, if you're using a water-cooled build with all these fans and stuff, temperatures shouldn't really be too much of a concern. I'm going to go ahead and give this a recommended award. I wanted to give it the must-have, but like I said, that one small thing, while I did say it's not the end of the world, it is the difference between recommended and must-have. If it had though a cutout or two on the back side of the motherboard tray, I would have went ahead, gave it top honors, gave it our must-have award. But as it is and how I've reviewed it, it gets our recommended award. It's still a great case, well worth your water-cooled components and all this stuff. Like as you can see, it looks amazing. This isn't the most fantastic build or classiest build. This is pretty much a standard water-cooled build, and it still looks decent. So here in the UK, this case does come in at about £225. Now I know a few of you are going to be saying, well, that's quite a lot for a case, but when you consider what it has to offer, it's a high-end, top-end enthusiast case. And not being funny, if you're putting the type of water cooling components in it as we have, it should be, you don't want it to be cheap. It's still not going to be the most expensive part of your build. Obviously, if you go with a high-end build, like we've got the MSI X570 Unify, that was a couple £100. The Atron 360, again with the D5 pump, I think that's just over £200 if I remember correctly. A 5900X CPU, again a couple £100. So if you're spending that type of money on the rest of your components, it kind of makes sense to spend that on a decent case, something that's going to be sturdy, something that's going to look good, and something that's going to take care of your components over time. It is also available in a white color for those of you that want to do a white build. I personally would have loved to, but I don't have enough other components for my test system yet to make a full white build, so we opted for the black one. Again, it looks great. Gonna give it our recommended award. Many props to Raijintek for the Paean Premium case. I absolutely do love it, except that, like I said, that one little thing, but I'm willing to look over that and enjoy the case as a whole. So that's it for today. So I just want to thank you guys for taking the time out to watch, and as always, please stay tuned in the future for more content.